Lionel Gamlin reporting. The Labour Party conference at Scarborough has continued as front-page news. Hall and galleries were packed for the Premier's address, which included this reference to the existence of individualists in the party ranks.
There's always the one who thinks that our Johnny is the only one who's in step. Or should it be our Zilly? I've always believed myself that the right course was to put my views before my colleagues, discuss with them, and then accept their decision.
Mr. Attlee also had a go at the opposition.
I read with great diligence the speeches of Mr. Churchill, a most distinguished statesman, and Lord Woolton, an expert salesman. But I failed to discover any coherent alternative policy. Indeed, one of the features of the present Parliament is the incoherence of the opposition.
The next day was largely Mr. Ernest Bevin's day. He was in good form. In the course of his speech, the Foreign Secretary had this to say of Russia's policy.
It is the war of nerves. The war that was started first on Turkey has been carried on in Greece, has recently been carried on in Berlin, and which I think this conference will agree, in the aeroplane incident, in the unfortunate incident on the Yugoslav frontier. If we had not kept very, very cool, trouble might have ensued. I intend, whatever the provocation may be, we intend, I ought to say, to stay in Berlin.
On the subject of the situation in Greece,
we've had eyewitnesses there, and I tell you, you people who live in your towns and villages, if you couldn't go to bed tonight without wondering whether there was going to be a raid down the hills and your wives being shot at night or your children taken away, you wouldn't feel very comfortable. And that's the situation that's going on. Civil war is an instrument of a foreign policy of any outside government is a dastardly thing to do, and it ought to be stopped.
The Marshall Plan also figured prominently in Mr. Bevin's speech.
I should think we would have been guilty of one of the greatest crimes against our own people if we had fallen down under the threat of Mr. Molotov of what he would do to us in France if we dared go on. I will submit to no threats from any nation at all.
New York, and the night before the